Yes, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all did you just interrupt me? Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this is your boy Six Man K Styles on the Originator Monday on the Mad Mike Sports Podcast channel. As you already know, we got the hostess with the mostest. We got Senator Palpatine, aka Mad Mike Sports, in the building. Right below me, as you
Right.
see, right below me, we have the downtown Don Summer Hill Nightmare. What's going on, Don?
Hold on, I gotta do one thing for Roman, man. Hey, I hate to do it to you, Roman, but
oh man,
it
it still
You
hurts.
know he had
I knew this was coming. I knew this was coming at some point, and it still does hurt. Like I was down there for all that, and it's just
you went to Houston?
I was in Houston. I was in New Orleans. I was on the whole trip. Yeah.
Man, if I would have just been a fly on the wall, man, I would have been. But yeah, I'm a huge Michigan fan. But anyway,
he just wanted to use that. But hey, Don, you might well stay on camera. You might well stay on camera. You already threw it out there.
No, I'm gonna stay off camera for the night.
Oh, God.
And our special guest for tonight's episode, Mike, you want to go ahead and give my man Roman a nickname? How we gonna call? What we gonna call? We gotta have a nickname around here. What we gonna call?
Right off the top, he's the not so tribal chief, Roman Thomas. All right. How about that?
I was gonna call him the tribal husky.
I'm okay with either here.
The tribal husky. Oh Lord,
The tribal husky.
Okay, we're gonna call it the tribal. That means you the final boss today, man. But you got
that works for me.
We're gonna call him the final boss, Roman Thomas. I'm gonna mess your name up because I was about to say
Roman.
I was thinking about a soccer player that I was watching. I was playing FIFA the other day. I was like, what the hell? Okay, my bad, man.
You're all good. I've heard 1,000 different pronunciations of my last name, so it's just nice to add another one to the list.
Hey, it's all good. It's all good, man. You the final boss today, man. So how you doing this evening, man? How you doing this evening?
It's been a really busy day. It's been a really busy weekend here for all Husky fans and covering this team and everything. But I'm having a great time. Steve Belichick just signed to be the defensive coordinator here, so I couldn't be better as a Patriots fan and somebody who covers this Husky team. I'm loving life over here.
Okay.
That's what's up.
All right, Don, you want to go ahead and get straight into it, man? I'm going to let you go ahead and kick the final boss off, man. How we going to start the show off tonight, man? And like I said, we not going to really do the roll call tonight because Don got to get up on out of here because he got business to take in the morning. So we appreciate everybody tuning in. Y'all make sure y'all hit that like button, subscribe, all that stuff. Go ahead,
show
Don,
gonna still go on after I get off anyway. So
of course,
I'm not. Y'all know I'm not the show. So anyway, but
we're gonna give you the hook on your head. Get out of here. Anyway,
man.
Right, go ahead.
Anyway, so Jimmy Lake, he spent most of his tenure at the University of Washington. Developed a lot of great DBs up there. Got promoted to be the defensive coordinator, and then he became the head coach. Was there 2 seasons. Really wasn't full 2 seasons. Just tell us about his time with the Huskies that you're familiar with.
So there's a lot that goes into the Jimmy Lake experience during his time at Washington. Let's start with the positives. Jimmy Lake turned Washington into DBU during his time here. I know, especially when you think about the Falcons, you think about guys like AJ Terrell, Jesse Bates, they've done a really good job there over the last year or two with all that sort of stuff that's going on. So Jimmy Lake knows how to coach and develop defensive backs and can just create an elite secondary. Truly, when you look at his time at Washington as the head coach, you saw Trent McDuffie, you saw Kyler Gordon, Buki Radley-Hiles. You saw a really, really great defense. But during his time as head coach, he also did a lot of let's just say made a lot of questionable decisions at best, where he kind of abandoned run defense for the most part during his final season there, where he just kind of said, yeah, I dare people to throw on us. And offenses just said, we don't need to do that to beat you right now because we're not going to test Trent McDuffie or Kyler Gordon. And, you can get into the whole pushing players thing, which is also part of his legacy. As during his first year as an assistant on staff, he got into a fight with Marcus Peters as well. I know, that's not the first time that's happened, and it won't be the last in terms of Marcus Peters. I'm a huge fan. But there are positives and negatives to Jimmy Lake, but I think the biggest thing to take away from this is he's such a fantastic developer of defensive backs, and he understands how to coordinate, especially a secondary. So as long as you can find a way to defend the run, this is going to be a great hire for the Falcons.
All right. And that's intriguing because when they hired him, I'm like, we got Jerry Gray on staff, another good DB developer, and then your head coach, Raheem Morris, is also another good DB developer. So you got three big bosses with the staff right now that's developing DBs. So far, you touched about the defense a little bit, watching defense. And
are you eating? I'm sorry. Are you eating?
I'm drinking.
Hey, you got something in your mouth. Good gracious.
All right, listen. So
you interview with Krispy Kreme.
I'm drinking.
He eating Krispy Kreme on live. We trying to have a show. He eating food. Good gracious, brother.
I have dry mouth, so I'm drinking. So yes, but anyway, so the defense that y'all have, and I understand that 2022, right, was the last. Was it 21-22 the last year he was at Washington?
2021. 2021.
Some of the guys that was on this 2023 team, they were recruited by Jimmy Lake. Is that correct?
Not necessarily. Where a lot of those guys were actually recruited by Chris Peterson, where they were 2019 and 2020 recruits. When you look at guys like Roma Dunze, Roger Rosengarten, Troy Fautanu, Braylon Trice, they were all part of those classes where a lot of them had to be re-recruited by Jimmy Lake when he got to Washington, when you talk about the 2020 class. But there weren't necessarily a whole ton of those guys that were true Jimmy Lake recruits. You can look at a couple of guys in the secondary, but that's one of the things where, as his time at Washington rolled on, after he recruited Trent McDuffie and that whole class, he just didn't seem to take it as seriously, where he kind of had this mentality of, all right, I've gotten these guys for years and years and years now. Now I can, he kind of had this Nick Saban mentality, which is one of the reasons he took some time off from coaching, where he just thought all the good players were going to start to come to him. So as many good things as Jimmy Lake did at Washington, he doesn't necessarily deserve a whole ton of credit for what happened this past season.
Okay. All right. That's understandable. Matt, Mike, do you have anything to touch about Jimmy Lake?
Yeah, I want some dirt on him. I like to have the dirt. So I want the dirt. All this nice stuff. I want to hear the bullshit. All right, please, Roman, give us the bullshit. All right,
you want the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah, absolutely. And leave no time. Right.
I will do this in the most professional way that I possibly can, because
thank you. Because
obviously, we all saw him push a player on national television. You can't beat around the bush with that. And if you go dig in through some old Seattle Times articles, that's not the first time that happened either. So when you look at it, he is somebody who has a history of not necessarily always being able to get along with his players. And the thing that kind of bugged me the most, I would say, about his time at Washington would be he kind of reached this level of arrogance as both a play caller, and even for the most part, during his time as a defensive coordinator, he wasn't the one calling plays, where a lot of that was deferred to Texas's defensive coordinator now, Pete Kwiatkowski. So that was his job for the most part, where Jimmy did a fantastic job with developing the secondary. But I have a lot of questions about him as a play caller, because he played really, really heavily into his strengths, which is great, but he didn't necessarily show a willingness to adapt to his weaknesses. So when I saw that he was getting back into coaching with the Rams, I was really interested in that for a couple of reasons, because Sean McVay is that same kind of guy in certain senses, where I love Sean McVay. I think he's a fantastic coach, But we saw when he was really getting into coaching early on, we saw him just kind of hand everything on the defensive side over to Wade Phillips, where he said, all right, that's your side of the ball. This is my side of the ball. We're going to deal with it like that. And that's the same approach that Jimmy Lake took to defending the run versus defending the pass. So if he can find a way to develop a front seven, which I'm really curious to see what direction the Falcons decide to go with at 8th overall. Do they go with a strong edge rusher like a Leatu Latu or a Dallas Turner kind of guy, or just whatever direction it is they decide to take? I really like Johnny Newton, the defensive tackle at Illinois, where if he has a lot of say over what's going on there, and he's really does show that he's improved over his 2 years where he hasn't necessarily really been heavily involved with coaching, because the assistant head coach title that he had with the Rams, as I've talked to some friends in the Patriots organization, that title is a little bit of a joke, where for some former players that, I've talked to have said, yeah, that's kind of like a substitute teacher title, where, if Bill Belichick has to go to the dentist, Joe Judge is going to run practice today, where that's kind of what the title is in a sense. So it's great to see him getting back into coaching and doing those things. But I really want to see what he's going to do as a play caller, because he's shown so many tendencies of arrogance over his time as a head, not even just as a head coach, as a defensive coordinator, as a defensive backs coach, that I want to see him start to improve on things first.
I like what you just said about, he needs we need to see him. We need to see more of him being better at play calling. And I'm going to sit here and tell you that I do kind of worry about run defense that you said earlier, because I knew when he was a defensive coordinator for you guys and the head coach, y'all run defense was not good at all.
Yeah.
A guy like Jerry Gray that we have on our staff, yes, he is the assistant head coach for us. But just last year, he worked with Ryan Nielsen, our former defensive coordinator, and our defense was good. At one point, we were top 10, and we was good at stopping the run as well. So I think having a guy like having a guy like Jerry Gray on the staff, he can mentor a Jimmy Lake.
So I agree with you there, but then I want to take it a step further, because in a sense, this all comes down to Raheem Morris, because he's the one making this hire, and he's the one who's saying, I'm going to put my trust in you. And from all the vocal support that we've seen for Raheem around the NFL, when you see just things like Jalen Ramsey, what he said about him, I don't think that he would make this hire if he didn't have complete confidence that Jimmy Lake could do the job. So I think that would be something that you can hang your hat on and say, all right, I'm still going to have these questions until I see it on the field. But knowing that Raheem was willing to make this hire, that should give you a little bit of ease in that sense too. Yeah.
And Raheem Morris in the press conference today, he did mention that he's going to be more hands off with play calling. He just want to manage the game. So his coordinators, they're going to have to do the play calling on their respective sides of the ball. So Jimmy Lake, we're going to see what he can do.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see if they go with another corner, like high in the second round too. I'm a huge NFL draft guy, and I just think that this is a really great class to do that. Where if you can get somebody across from AJ Terrell, that not only would show the influence that he already has on the defense, because I know that's going to be something that Raheem Morris is going to emphasize as well, just being who he is and coming up the way that he has. Where if you can have those two guys just really start to say, okay, this is how we're going to make our mark. We already have a really talented offense with Bijan, with Drake London, with everything else that goes on, unless, you guys feel that a quarterback needs to be taken in the first round, which kind of changes this whole discussion. But unless that's the case, if you go defense early and often, just to really solidify things and say, all right, we saw the improvement here. We hired a defensive head coach. You want to go that whole route with things. Let's really bolster that and then see what we can figure out with our offense, because we know all the pieces are there on that side of the ball as well.
I'm glad you said that. If we draft a corner, I would like for us to draft Mikey Sanderson from Michigan.
I like him. Yeah.
Interesting.
I did not know that, Don. I did not know that.
Yeah, of course he would. Robert, I have a question for you. So when you look at Jimmy Lake, his level of expertise, would you say that he's more of a guy that develops a lot of safeties? If he does develop safeties and the type of safeties and the type of corners that you would say is more so his strength.
I would say if you're going to choose one between the two, it definitely falls on the cornerback side of things because Washington's history of cornerbacks under Jimmy Lake is wild. He doesn't get full credit for Marcus Peters because he only got 1 year with Marcus Peters, who also choked him out. But again, that's a different story. And then outside of that, Sidney Jones, second-round pick. Kevin King, second-round pick. Keith Taylor, Elijah Molden, Trent McDuffie, Kyler Gordon. There's a very long list of guys that he developed where there's still some safeties, right? Buda Baker. He did a great job developing Buda Baker. And Taylor Rapp, again, same thing, where those are both second-round picks as well. But when you look at safeties versus corners with who's coming out of Washington at that time, there were way more corners that you can point to and say, all right, this is probably where Jimmy Lake is having a bigger impact as with the cornerbacks compared to the safeties.
But you named all these corners from Washington. Sure. But Falcons fans, we forgot the great Jordan Miller.
Oh, I love Jordan Miller. His mom and I are close. I will never say a bad thing about Jordan Miller. I feel after he would have been a much higher pick had he not had to go through a really tough ankle injury that he suffered down at Arizona State in 2018, I believe it was. Yeah, no, Jordan's fantastic.
I had to bring him up. I know he wasn't great for us, but like he was a great,
I don't even think he really got
was developed with Jimmy Lake.
Yeah, he never really got a shot. I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But a lot of guys like him, Deidre Sanat, like we can keep going, but whatever.
I was happy and then I started getting depressed. Hold on, let me go. Let me turn off to the side.
You know it's coming. Doug always had to bring up one or two guys that we completely forgot about. Now I honestly forgot Jordan Miller was here.
I was a fan of Jordan Miller. I thought 5th round pick would have been a damn steal, but what happened? Dan Quinn, of course, with his raggedy ass, decides that he don't want to give. You know what? No, I'm Roman. I'm sorry. I had a moment.
No, this is great because this means, like I said, I'm a Patriots fan. When you're talking about Dan Quinn, that means we don't have to go down the typical Patriots fan lob route here.
Come on, Roman. Come on, Roman. Don't play that with me. I see what you're trying to do. You're not gonna do that here.
I just said
go ahead and say it. Just go ahead and say 28-3. Goddammit! I'm sick of you already. Come on, Roman.
I just told about Michigan being Washington, so
he had.
Yeah, that's
he wanted to do it so bad. Let's go ahead.
I swear I didn't want to do it, and then I heard Dan Quinn's name, and I was like, oh man, like, do I really want to go down this road? Like,
Done.
But
it's all good. It's all good. Go ahead, Roman. Go ahead.
It's just especially looking at this from a perspective to help bring things back up. Arthur Smith is gone. So now you don't have to worry about Tyler Algier getting 12 carries a game for whatever reason. And maybe Kyle Pitts will get more than 2 targets a game. That'd be fantastic. That wouldn't just that alone help things out because
all right, you saved yourself. I give you nice save.
I'm glad I have a platform with a bunch of Falcons guys here talking about this because I sat on my couch every Sunday and screamed at Arthur Smith, who, like, yeah, I get it, it's a fantasy football thing, who wouldn't throw Kyle Pitts the damn ball, man. How hard is that? It's not. It shouldn't be that difficult.
I'm gonna tell you, yeah, but that part about it, I have to put blame on Arthur Smith for one thing, was he put too much trust in the Dave Ragone, and looking at those numbers I saw today, I see why.
You know what? I saw something. Somebody told me, Rio from the Commanders podcast. We talked about a little bit about the Dan Quinn hire. They said that he was interested in hiring Arthur Smith as his offensive coordinator before Pittsburgh got him. And I'm like, wow. I said, he might as well.
The thing, I mean, the thing is, we don't know. He just might just be a coordinator right now. I mean, it's different layers to this stuff where it's like you may have guys that may be better coordinators than they are head coaches. We don't damn know. At the end of the day, it's just going to depend on, okay, do you fit whatever team you're going to be with? But
I just found it hilarious that Dan Quinn was thinking about hiring Arthur Smith as his offensive coordinator. And I'm like, at that point, you might as well hire Mike Smith. You might as well hire Mike Smith as your defense coordinator. Just get all the old Falcon coaches and just put them on the Commanders.
They're a disaster as it is.
And Dave Ragone resume, going back and looking back at it, was not very good. Outside of Matt Ryan, the only quarterbacks he ever worked with was Jake Locker and Mitchell Trubisky. Think about that for a second.
Are we slandering Jake Locker now? Or
come on, man.
Oh man.
No. This is
going on.
No, this is Dave. This is Dave Ragone slander. This is what I'm talking about.
Okay, all right. No. Yeah, but see that I'm okay with. I'm
that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. But that's why I said when it comes. And speaking of the quarterback position right now, since you're a Washington fan, and I know we got some Falcon fans in here that's kind of been clamoring on the Michael Pennock prospects. So. What was your thoughts of seeing him in his time at Washington? This is a bonus topic, y'all. So y'all getting this for free. But
y'all about to see. They wait for this opportunity. So go ahead. They've been waiting for it because I had some harsh words for Michael Pennock.
I couldn't have been more impressed with Michael Pennock over 2 years at Washington, truly, where when he came here in 2022, you didn't really know what to think, right? Where it's a 3-star guy out of high school who, he has these really nice moments. Yeah, he threw for 500 yards against Ohio State that one time. It's like, that's cool. Like, well, okay, what's going to happen with this? And then as we kind of saw his first few games unfold after he was named the starter, you could see it. The Michigan State game, his third game at Washington, he really turned it on, was fantastic, beat at the time the number 11 team in the country. They weren't very good, but they had their flowers at that time. And
horrible.
As that team was terrible. But then as the year went on, you kept seeing more and more things from him to say, oh no, this dude is legit. And then you get to the end of the season, they win 7 straight games. They beat Texas in the Alamo Bowl, and he announces that he's coming back for 2023. That's okay. All right, let's see what you can do again. And he was fantastic for the majority of the season. He had a couple of slip-ups here and there. The Arizona State game where there were a whole bunch of things at play. And then he gets the Sugar Bowl in New Orleans against Texas. I have never seen a quarterback play with that level of control and just have that level of accuracy, touch, everything. He put it all together in that game on a level that I've never seen before. And of course it goes the other way against Michigan, where, now that we look back at that, we can you can say what you will about Kalen DeBoer not game planning and taking the Alabama interview a couple of days before that, which is something that's been heavily rumored around here in Seattle. But when you look back at Michael Pennock's time at Washington, you see a dude who can, in the right system, and I think the Falcons would be a really great fit for him, where I like the Falcons as a fit. I really like Minnesota as a fit. And I think, let's see what happens with Baker Mayfield, but Tampa Bay might also be a fit to send him back, back home. I think that'd be really cool. I know, I'm sorry, NFC South, probably not the best fit on this podcast, but I really do like the fit with the Falcons, because the two things that I'm looking for with Michael Pennock are the number one thing is a good offensive line. And the Falcons have a fantastic offensive line. I love Caleb McGarry, another Washington shout out. I really like Chris Lindstrom. I think they've done a really good job of building that line up. And that's going to be the biggest thing, is if you can protect Michael Pennock and you give him some time to throw and you keep him upright, he's going to be a fantastic NFL quarterback. And he's also got the playmakers around him. I got to scream about Kyle Pitts, so thank you for that. He's got Bijan. He's got Drake London. He has a really nice core around him. You find another guy to go with it. This is a really deep wide receivers class. You find a nice wide receiver too. Maybe you throw somebody like Jalen Polk into the mix there, where all of a sudden, boom, that's a great fit. And that's exactly what he needs to thrive in the NFL.
Well, the Patriots picked before us, so what if he goes to the Patriots?
will be stunned, first of all, because I don't think that, just from some things that I've heard from a couple of sources, I don't think that Jaden Daniels is going to fall out of the top 3. Personally, I hope he goes 2 and Drake May falls to 3, or some absolute chaos happens and Caleb Williams falls to 3. That'd be unbelievable. I'd be more than happy with that. If Michael Penix goes to the Patriots at 3rd overall, I will have a lot of questions. If the Patriots sign T. Higgins in free agency, I will have a few less questions, but I will still have a lot, because they need to do a better job of building the offensive line, which Bill Belichick didn't necessarily do the best job of during his time in New England. And I will be a lot more concerned until I see them, draft a tackle at the top of day 2. Like a Jordan Morgan from Arizona is the name I've been really keying in on there.
You better say that again.
You guys like Jordan Morgan?
I do.
Well, that's what I like to hear. I think he's fantastic. We're getting that guy in there. That changes things. That makes things a little bit easier on him. But right now, with the way everything stands, as high as I am on Michael Penix, I would be stunned if he goes in the top 3. Where, let's say some trades happen and he goes. That's why I like the Vikings at 11, where I think that's a realistic range where, 3 quarterbacks are off the board, depending on how some teams feel about Bo Nix or JJ McCarthy, maybe a 4th. I personally doubt it with just the way that this draft is shaping up. But I think that, somewhere between 8 and 15 is a really good sweet spot for Michael Penix to fall.
Yeah, that's going to be very interesting, too. Like you said, with Minnesota kind of rumors coming around that they trying to inch up into around that range a little bit earlier than that. Is like, hey, maybe they already got their exit plan for Kirk Cousins.
That's easy. It's just, he's already a free agent. All right, we don't need to worry about this anymore.
I don't think they want to pay that. I don't think they want to pay that market value for him no more. All right.
They just wanted to keep doing it.
Exactly. All right. So
agree. So yeah.
Okay. All right. Since we know you're a classified Patriot fan, I want to get your thoughts on Gerard Mayo. Like what is your takes on him?
I think this is a fantastic hire. Or this is somebody who's going to relate to the players really well. He's been on staff for a long time. He's done a really good job of helping build up a defense. I know we were talking about Steve Belichick just before the show started, who's going to be calling plays here at Washington this fall. That's going to be really fun. But Gerard Mayo is great for so many reasons. And the biggest one for me personally is that this allows the Patriots to actually kind of function with a normal front office, which is something that I as a 26-year-old Patriots fan, I literally do not know what that's like, because it's been Bill Belichick in control for literally my entire life. So I'm really intrigued to see what happens, because as many great things as you can say about Bill Belichick during his time with the Patriots, his last few years in terms of roster management have been nothing short of maddening, where some of the trades that he's made, some of the draft picks that he's made, just the positions that he's decided to prioritize and the types of players at those positions he decided to prioritize at certain points. It's just all really frustrating, where I love this hire for so many reasons, but the biggest one is going to be just the evolution of the roster and the evolution of the vision of the Patriots. And I'm not going to say that it's going to get back to what it was, because it will never be that. Nothing will ever be that, except, maybe Patrick Mahomes and everything that they're doing in Kansas City. But it's nice to see them actually taking a step into the 21st century in some regard, where Brady and Belichick will always be intertwined, because it was always both. It was never one or the other. They always both found a way to make it all work. But there were so many things that needed to happen for the disaster that we saw this last season to be wiped away with, and hiring Gerard Mayo is the biggest piece of that.
Okay. Hey, Mike, you got any other questions for my boy Roman for the big final boss over here?
I actually do. So I like BS, as you can probably see. So I want to know one thing, because I'm a Georgia fan, and I want to know, all right, do the fans with the Patriots really despise the quarterback that shall go unnamed at the present time? um, for the Patriots. So you know who that guy is?
The one who graduated from Alabama, that one?
Yes. We don't. Yeah, that guy. So how is he perceived as far as the fan base is concerned? Because we've heard a lot of conflicting stories. So what's the truth behind that from a Patriots fan?
So I would say that it's very frustrating because it's split down the middle, where there's some people who are like, this guy sucks, get him out of here. There are some people that toe the line where it's like, I haven't loved what I've seen. And then there are some people of which I happen to be in the department of this guy has been screwed over at every single turn following his rookie year, where there's a lot that I don't like. And I don't think that he's going to work in New England because it's too far. He's too far gone. He's too far past that point. But following his rookie season, they hired Matt Patricia to run the offense. I would have done a better job calling plays than Matt Patricia. And I played baseball.
Wait, whoa. Time out. Are we talking about the same Matt Patricia that tried it with the Lions and failed? We talking about that same one?
That Matt Patricia. That Matt Patricia called plays for the Patriots on offense in 2022.
That's why I looked at it. I'm like, why?
I to this day, I could not tell you why that happened, other than Bill Belichick was like, I'm probably just going to hire one of my friends, which again, all plays into the Gerard Mayo thing and all plays into how fantastic it is that this hire is happening, where he's going to hire a competent offensive coordinator. And defensive coordinator was never the issue. But after Josh McDaniels left, and when there were rumors about him being the one to fill the shoes as head coach whenever Belichick retired, when that was before he got the Raiders job, that was its own terrifying thought. And now we see why. But when it comes to Mac Jones, I'm sorry if you didn't want me to say his name. I feel like I had to.
No. Go ahead, man. Go ahead, man.
It's fine.
We good.
But when it comes to Mac Jones, there's too much that you can look at now and say this is too far gone, and he needs to just kind of move on, get a fresh start, go somewhere else. But going through 3 offensive coordinators in 3 years, having the worst supporting cast in football, like literally on par with Carolina Panthers when we're being serious. At least they had DJ Moore to start the year. Yeah, they traded him, but at least you can say he was on the roster at some point. The Patriots didn't have anybody just in that same stratosphere where it's DeMario Douglas. It was Devontae Parker who just stopped trying at a certain point. When you look at that, and then you look at the offensive line, which literally allowed him to be pressured at a 50% clip in multiple games this season, I just don't know how you can look at that and say this all falls on Mac Jones, where he still did a lot wrong. Again, I'm not going to deny that. But if you say that he is the one and only problem in everything that went on, I just don't think you're watching the film.
Yeah, I agree with you. Because the thing is, one thing we know about young quarterbacks, you have a revolving door of coordinators. That person's not going to look good. Look at a guy like Alex Smith in his early years in San Francisco. Every year was a different offensive coordinator. He didn't play well until Jim Harbaugh got there. And then they shipped him to Kansas City, and he still played well on the Andy Reid. So,
right.
They never – I do agree that the Patriots didn't put Mac Jones in a good position to develop the way he needs to be a good quarterback for that team. So,
and the thing that really makes me kind of feel bad for him in a certain sense is he was getting booed by Patriots fans for simply stepping back on the field in 2022 after Bailey Zappi played a couple of games. And just the thing that made it even more frustrating with that was the difference in play calling when Mac Jones was on the field versus when Bailey Zappi was on the field, because it felt like they tried to run all these long developing routes where nobody was going to hold up for long enough for somebody to get down the field because they don't have anybody who can run a sub 4.5 40. And then Bailey Zappi comes into the game and it's all right, quick completion here, quick completion there. All right, we're going to actually allow you to get in rhythm. It never made any sense following the 2021 season.
That sounds
Mike Don. That sounds real familiar, Granddad.
I know that sounds very familiar. That's what Arthur Smith did with Ritter and Heineke. He had different game plans for different quarterbacks. Yeah, but like far as Patriots fans booing him, like the thing is they became entitled fans because they got used to having a Hall of Fame quarterback, going out there and winning games for them, and they don't understand the process of actually having a good quarterback. And then I'm talking about 30 years. Like they had Drew Bledsoe, which was good. He was a good quarterback for the Patriots. And then you literally tripped over Tom Brady, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. So it's been 30 years since they actually have to go through a process of actually developing the quarterback and the growing pains of developing the quarterback.
Right. It's frustrating to see that they just. Being a Patriots fan, I understand I'm very entitled. I lived in Boston for 4 years, went to 2 Super Bowl parades. Like, yeah, Patriots fans are entitled, but this is part of the NFL. What they did for 20 years was an aberration. It's just you have to realize that this is all part of it. Like, hopefully it's not, the Lions, but there's some happy medium there of making a conference championship game every couple of years or making a run in the playoffs every so often. And just like really all that I'm looking for with what's going on now in New England is, are you going to find a way to compete every single year? Or are you just going to be garbage by like the 4th game and have an offense that literally can't score and are going to lose games when you allow 10 points on defense?
I mean, you bringing in and that kind of leads to another question too, as far as like you said with Gerard Mayo and the new regime that y'all do have up here. Like you say, it's going to and this is kind of what we're going through right now with Raheem Morris is what is the culture of the team going to be like based on how they draft? Because, like you said, in your opinion, of a lot of those drafts in the last few years, which ones were to you the ones that were kind of like head scratchers?
In terms of the Patriots?
Patriots, yeah.
All of them, really?
But is there one in particular where you were like,
so it's tough because I always like you kind of grade on a scale, right? Where it's the first round pick is okay. This is what like it or not, that's what the draft is going to be remembered by. If a Tom Brady happens to come out of that class, awesome. Love that. That's very rare. But when you look at this past year, Christian Gonzalez was unbelievable before he tore his labrum and was done for the year. You look the year before that, and they picked Cole Strange in the first round. So, like, I feel like that was the one. Yeah, you can laugh. You can laugh.
I knew you was going to go there. I was just waiting for you to say
it. I knew he was waiting. K-Star was waiting for that one.
Because the thing was because I remember in the draft we was looking like there was like Cole Strader and there was where he go to school
UT Chattanooga.
I said UT Chattanooga. Look.
Oh
wow.
But I'm gonna bring up a really deep cut here. It's just one that really that I think about at least once a week and just think like, yeah, this is when I started to realize he really couldn't draft. Was when they picked Dominic Easley in the first round, like 15 years ago, a defensive tackle from Florida who was awful.
I forgot about that.
He never played. He had 2 just crippling knee injuries. He never saw the field. Nobody liked him in the locker room. He was a problem in the locker room. It was like, why did you pick this guy? Like there were so many other players on the board. And I remember just being like, wait, who is this? Who is this person? And it's frustrating between that and trading out of the first round every other year. It's like what are we doing here?
I mean, I understand kind of like the trading out the first round part on certain things.
Sure.
I know I would because I was wondering if you was gonna say Cole Strange, but it was another one that I was thinking that you may have said would have been Taquan Thornton.
That same draft.
That
was their first and second round picks. So you can again, you're gonna remember Cole Strange, and then it's Taquan Thornton was their next pick. What the hell is this? That just makes it even more frustrating.
Because I think where it kind of threw it off guard because if you knew kind of like what how Patriots how they like they type of receiver, like he really didn't really. It was like, okay, this dude is 6'4", 165 pounds. What?
So I've got a trivia question for you. Do you know who the next receiver taken was in that draft? We talked about the team that he plays on earlier in the show.
Oh, the team he plays on earlier in the show. Wait a minute. Washington. No.
Nope, not Washington.
No. God damn it. I had a brain fart.
It's George Pickens.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. God, man.
Like I'm sitting there. I'm texting one of my buddies who works in Boston media, and we're like, George Pickens is sitting right there. Why don't you just take George Pickens, man? It's not hard.
God. Yeah, I mean, like I said, even with us, like I said, we've had certain draft picks and stuff like that where it was like I said, we can go back to 07 with Jamal Anderson over Patrick Willis. I mean, that one still kind of stings right there.
Yeah.
But what we try to say is a lot of times, even with these drafts, and I said, I know you say you're a big draft guy yourself, is a lot of this stuff is crapshoot, man. Everybody thinking that these picks is guaranteed. Your first round pick may be the worst pick in your draft class. Your last pick may be the best pick in your draft.
Absolutely. So, it's like a 40% hit rate in the first round. You never know how these guys are going to turn out.
Oh, wow. Oh, man. So, all right, people in the chat, man, y'all go ahead and start throwing some questions up in here, man. I saw a question in here somebody asked you, man. Hold on. Let me see if I find it here. Oh, Lord. This one of our regulars here, Chuck said, he said, hearing from a Patriots fan, that he said he glad they didn't get Bill Belichick. How does Roman feel if he would have fit here? Like I guess he's asking like if Belichick was going to be in Atlanta, what was to be expected?
That would have been a disaster, because the biggest issue was you would have had to get rid of the front office, or not the front office, but Bill would have become the general manager, so he would have had final say over all roster decisions. And then, as we discussed a little bit earlier, his coordinators, as I've heard from a couple of different people, would have been Josh McDaniels and Matt Patricia. So I feel like that in and of itself is enough to just have anybody say no.
And it came from the reports too. It was more so of a control thing as well.
Yeah,
I think they just wanted to go a little bit younger and actually give the guys there a chance to earn their spots.
Absolutely. It's like the Pete Carroll probably should have gotten a job as well this offseason, but it just shows that the league is going in a different direction than some of these guys, which is fine. That is what it is, where like I truly do hope that Bill Belichick gets another job, gets the wins record, gets to go out on top. But he needs to show a willingness to adapt, which Pete Carroll did an extent of, and he just couldn't really figure out an offense. But yeah, and Bill Belichick, it's the same thing. The defense is fine. The defense will always be there, but he hires too many of his friends and won't give up control in the front office. And without those two things, if you want to adjust and adapt to those two things in 2024, it's not going to work.
Okay. We got another question over here. Shout out to my boy Brian Peoples here. He said, out of your quarterback situation, what would you prefer? Would you prefer Bailey Zappi, Matt Jones, or just draft a quarterback for the Patriots?
I would prefer the draft route, where it's a clean slate, where Bailey Zappi is fine. Mac Jones, we had that discussion. We're not going to rehash it.
You say he shot at this point.
It's a conversation I've had every single day with some of my buddies for 2 years at this point. And it's ridiculous. So I would definitely prefer the draft route. Okay. And the thing that I have been sitting here, because there's actually one other part that I can add to this, where what's going to happen at 3? Are you going to take, let's just say it's Jaden Daniels, because that's the most logical outcome right now. That scares me for a couple of reasons, but what if the Bears want to trade Justin Fields? I would consider giving up pick 34 for Justin Fields. I'd consider going that route. And then taking Marvin Harrison at 3. I think that's an extra thing to consider here, where I think it's all going to depend on how the board falls, which is going to be just kind of where you're really going to look at this, where if it's Drake May at 3, awesome. Run the card in. I'll do it myself. I'll run wherever the draft is. Just say you're drafting Drake May. I don't care what anybody else says. But I think there are a lot of different angles to consider here. And what I really think is going to happen is the way the Patriots attack free agency, where I know I talked about T. Higgins a little bit, where if somebody wants to go after T. Higgins and they want to pay him $22 million a year, all right, they're drafting quarterback at 3. That's just how it's going to work. But I think that there are a lot of different routes that they can take, and there's not necessarily a wrong answer as long as the quarterback that is starting in week 1 is not on the roster right now.
Hey, man. Hey, look, I'll say it like this, and I say it even just for the Falcons, man. I have no idea what's going to happen in this draft.
This is the worst quarterback class that I've seen in quite some time. These guys are awful. It's not a lot of guys that stand out and say, all right, that's it. Let's keep it real. Look, we got guys. You know these guys look. Nobody cared about Jaden Daniels. Nobody cares about Mr. I call him Mr. Sunshine Jr. and North Carolina kid. Why I don't know why.
Drake May.
Drake May.
No, awesome.
Look. Nobody cares, Roman. Nobody cares about him. Let's keep it real, okay? Nobody cares. Nobody cares about him. They never cared until this year. Even Michael Pennock, nobody cared about him his first couple of years. These are the things that we're talking about. A lot of quarterbacks that came into the draft, Trey Lance snuck up on people. You know what I'm saying? So nobody really understood what he was or what he could be. He snuck up. The same thing for Josh Allen. We saw him in college, but these guys snuck up. So when you look at a lot of these quarterbacks in this draft, the only one you can say that had a name is really Michael Penix. And for me, I think
Caleb Williams.
No, he's just a freaking crybaby, Roman. He's crying on the sideline. Is that?
What you said? He had a name. Caleb Williams was the number 1 overall quarterback in his class. Goes in, starts at Oklahoma within like.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
Because even if you want to go that route, like Jaden Daniels is a 5-star prospect going to Arizona State.
Yeah.
I know it's going to Arizona State. Nobody cares. He beat Oregon with Brandon Ayuk his freshman year. That was awesome. But I think that you're kind of looking at this from these guys, it's more short-sighted, where this quarterback class is really interesting because there's so much experience that goes around. Where you talk about Trey Lance, where Trey Lance just barely threw any passes between high school and college and whatever else, where so many of these guys have so much experience, where Caleb Williams is a 3-year starter. Drake May is a 3-year starter. Michael Penix is, for the better part of 6 years, has been a starter. Yeah. I'd say the same about Bo Nix. Jaden Daniels, 5-6-year starter, where there's a lot of experience. And I think that this quarterback class is really, really talented, where you can say, what you will about certain guys off field, where it's like Caleb Williams, whether it's, Drake May had a terrible team around him, where you can get into that nitpicking. But if you just sit down and look at some of these dudes on film, they're really, really impressive. Where when we talked about, the Mac Jones class, like that was propped up as, this is going to be the greatest quarterback back class we've ever seen in a while. Trevor Lawrence hasn't done much. Justin Fields, impressing. Zach Wilson, garbage. Trey Lance, what's he doing now? Is he bagging groceries?
We have no idea.
Mike, the first time we've been on this show,
this is the first guy. Yeah.
That I said in 2021, I said, watch what happens. And for all the OG Mad Mike Sports folks that's watching, what was the main thing I said about Zach Wilson? I said that Mel Kiper Jr. was going to overhype him, and he's going to turn out to be a bum.
And just sending him to the New York Jets made it all happen faster, and that was awesome. All
right. We're about to get out of here in a couple minutes. Roman, I got one more question for you. Then we're gonna go ahead and get up on out of here, man. So when we're talking about these young quarterbacks that's coming in, I mean, like you said now, and I've noticed within the last couple of years, they're starting to start. Well, especially really this year, we're starting to see a lot more quarterback with a lot more experience in college. How do you feel about handling rookie quarterbacks the right way? Do you believe in the guys that should sit a year, soak it all in from the sideline, or do you believe in just throw his ass in there, let him learn to swim?
This is probably the most diplomatic answer I can give you, but it depends on the coaching staff and the situation. There's so many other factors at play, because let's look at Patrick Mahomes. If Patrick Mahomes goes first overall to Cleveland, I don't think we're talking about the same guy. We're still looking at somebody who's super talented and has a whole ton of upside, but we're not talking about him like we are right now. No, he went to Kansas City. He got to sit behind Alex Smith for a year, take everything and learn from Andy Reid, one of the best head coaches in football. And then let's look at CJ Stroud on the other side of that, because that's kind of really what this comes down to. We're watching CJ Stroud have a fantastic rookie season, look just absolutely unbelievable, truly. And he was just kind of thrown into the fire with an okay supporting cast, and he made them look really good. So it's just a matter of what you have around you and really just the infrastructure that you have, because different teams will worry about it differently. And I don't think there's one right answer, because Tom Brady is not going to respond to the same things in the same ways that Peyton Manning might in that same comparison, where things are going to work differently for different guys. And that's on the organization. That's on the coach. That's on the general manager. That's why they do all this extensive draft prep to say, all right, we're going to invest in this quarterback. We need to make sure that he has everything in his power to succeed. And do we have that in our organization? That's really what it comes down to. That's why I feel terrible for Justin Fields. They clearly don't have any idea what the hell they're doing when it comes to developing a quarterback. They've given him 3 different OCs in 4 years. He's a fantastic talent. I've loved watching Justin Fields since the senior year of high school. Like, the dude can really play, but they didn't put anything around him to succeed. And then now that we're sitting here and we have to talk about, are they going to draft Caleb Williams, or are they going to stick it out with Justin Fields? They should trade him, because he shouldn't be there. They're clearly not doing the right things for him. And I feel like that's the best example I can give you of, it's not always going to work out for you, but it's on the organization to figure out what's right for different players.
I'm going to kind of disagree a little bit here. Nobody doubts the talent that Justin Fields has.
Sure.
But the thing about it too is, we can talk about, and like I said, this is even when we're talking about our situation with the quarterback, with Desmond Ridder and stuff like that too. The quarterback, like I said, Justin Fields does it to himself too.
Oh, I don't disagree.
No, I know you say, I know you saying he's not.
Yeah.
But I say it like this. And I'm glad I asked that question too, because we, like I said, where we try to put out here is, it's not one like you said, it's not one definitive path that takes you to a championship.
Right.
We know this, but I'm like this, bro. I ain't trading for no damn Justin Fields, bro. Like I said, I'd rather go to draft the quarterback route if they go that route, because the problem that we're going to be looking at here,
right,
is whoever trades for him
has to pay him.
You gonna have to pay him, and you better make damn sure that you get everything you can out of it. Because if you trade for him and he don't show the promise, you either gonna have to pay him the money, or you're gonna be out of picks.
Right. No, you're 100% correct when it comes to that. When it comes to Justin, there are a lot of things that you can debate there. I just mean more in the sense of the development of a quarterback, where you can look at him as a perfect case study of this is a dude with all world potential because we see it week in and week out with some of the throws he makes, with some of the plays that he makes with his legs, where there are so many different things that you can look at him and say, oh, this could be a dude, where that's why teams might want to trade for him. But on the other side of that, you as an organization, whether it be the Falcons, whether it be the Patriots, whoever it might be that say, all right, we might want this guy to be our next quarterback, you have to make sure that you have the proper infrastructure around him, because it's always like, and that's kind of the crappy thing about playing quarterback is it's always going to fall on their shoulders at the end of the day, where if they throw a game sealing interception, but the defense let up 50 points and they lose 51-48, who's going to get blamed? The quarterback. And it could be just a terrible play call where no matter what happens at the end of the day, because the quarterback's not blameless. That's not what I'm saying. But when you look at it at the end of the day, there is so much that goes into creating a good quarterback that I feel like sometimes that aspect of it all gets overlooked.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question. Because something come to mind. So when you look at the stats with Justin Fields and you have Desmond Ritter, obviously those guys' numbers are similar outside of the rushing numbers. So as a quarterback, where do you think Justin Fields' strength lies? Because when I look at him, like I said, I'm pretty obsessed with quarterbacks. So a lot of Justin Field fans can't tell you what he's good at. So what are his strengths and what are his weaknesses?
I think that he has phenomenal arm talent. He's great with his legs. He knows how to make plays outside of the pocket, which in this day and age of the NFL, in terms of just both offenses and defenses, is, I don't want to say it's rare because we're seeing more guys do that year in and year out, but the level of athleticism that he possesses when he gets outside of the pocket is unguardable. We see him rip off 40, 50, 60-yard touchdown runs. Like as many good quarterbacks as there are with their legs, how many of them are actually doing that? 2, 3? Like Lamar Jackson, I can't think of somebody else who's doing that consistently on a weekly basis. Like Jalen Hurts makes a lot of great runs. He doesn't have a whole lot of 50 to 60-yard touchdown runs.
Probably Kyler Murray been, before his early.
Right. But that's the issue when it comes to the grander point of what we're talking about with Justin Fields, is the biggest weakness is he still needs coaching. And in your 4th year in the league, you shouldn't look the way he does on some of these reads. You shouldn't still look incredibly confused. You shouldn't still look like a rookie. And that's the problem, where you see it, right? Where you look at all the physical traits, they're all there, but he's very clearly not being coached correctly for one reason or another.
So do you think that necessarily goes for a lot of the young quarterbacks that may be struggling, or do you think that Justin Fields is really the only one that gets that type of pass?
I think there are a couple that you could look at and say, all right, like Bryce Young. I think the jury's still out on him as an actual talent, being the first overall pick, especially when you look at what CJ Stroud did at the 2nd pick, and even Anthony Richardson before he went down. But do you look at what Carolina is and say, this is the proper infrastructure for a guy like Bryce Young to come in and thrive right away? Because the other side of that coin is you drop Brock Purdy into an offense with 5 all-pros and people are just now praising him as gospel. He does a lot of good things. But if you put Bryce Young in that situation, I'm sure we're seeing similar results. So I think that there are a couple of quarterbacks that you can point to and say, all right, yeah, you can look at this and say, you can look at Bryce Young and say the same thing. You can, I don't want to say Derek Carr, he's been in the league too long, but just what the Saints are doing at quarterback is a disaster. What the Broncos are doing with Russell Wilson in Denver, disaster. They can't figure that out. That's probably more on Russ than it is anything else. But I think it's a very situational example where Justin Fields is like the prime one you can point to right now. But there are a couple other ones as you look around the league that I'm sure you can find.
Mm-hmm. Because the one thing that I will say, and this is one of those things where in today's NFL, and you brought up Brock Purdy, Brock Purdy is doing exactly what he's supposed to do. He ain't worth it. He's managing the game. Like you said, that's what they asked him to do. That's what they asked him to do. And this is one of the things that I always love to preach. I preach team first more than anything, because if you have the proper team constructed all from top to bottom, from the front office and the coaching staff, special teams, offense and defense, you're not asking your quarterback to be Superman.
Right.
And
I'd love to turn and hand the ball off to Christian McCaffrey 25 times a game. It'd be awesome. I'd love to get paid $500,000 to do that.
Hey, shit. Hey, shoot. And it's crazy too, because he had the least amount of attempts per game than than all the starting quarterbacks in the league, but he was second in passing.
It's ridiculous. Must be nice to have Brandon Ayuk rip off a 50-yard chunk. It's awesome. I'd love that.
It just comes, like you said, it just comes down to the infrastructure of the team, man. But we're gonna go ahead and wind it down, man. So we're gonna let you get your night back in, man. We definitely appreciate you coming in with us, man. Let you go ahead and plug yourself for the people one more time before we get up on out of here, man.
I want to say one thing, Roman. I truly appreciate it, because we are the podcast that typically Justin Field fans, for whatever reason, they believe that Mike K-Style and everybody that's on the platform, they believe that we just hate Justin Fields. One of my biggest videos, I have almost 30,000 views on a video, and it was me praising Justin Fields. So I truly appreciate you coming on and giving the honest truth about what he is and what he isn't. All right. They heard it from me. For whatever reason, they won't take it. So thank you for coming on and being
well, most of those folks thinks we are demon spawns of Satan for some reason, because we don't put certain guys on God status for some reason. I don't get it. Hell, we get it in our own Falcon community. Ain't nothing.
Hey, it happens everywhere. I had a dude call me poor and cheap because I wasn't able to make a trip to a game, and I was like, dude,
wow.
One of these is correct, but which one? That's on you to figure out.
He said one maybe I'm not finna be both of these now, boy. You better pick
you can pick whichever one it is. One of them is correct, and you can stick with that lane, and that's fine. But yeah, no, this has been awesome. I really do appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for having me. If anybody is interested in checking out more Washington content, feel free to follow all our stuff. I'm the co-host of the Locked On Huskies podcast. You can find us on YouTube and wherever else you get your podcasts. We, as part of the Locked On Network, we're updating every single day. And then I'm also the site editor of USA Today's Huskies Wire, which is part of the Sports Medias Group. So you can find us at uwhuskieswire.usatoday.com. We're writing a whole bunch of stuff over there. I've got an awesome team with me that does a whole lot of great film breakdowns of mainly UW guys and draft prospects. So, as draft season gets closer, we're going to be doing a whole lot of stuff on guys like Michael Pennock, Roma Dunze, all that sort of stuff. So please feel free to just follow, subscribe. We got a whole bunch of fun stuff coming on all my platforms.
Oh yeah, we definitely looking forward to this draft season, man. Like I said, I don't know what the hell, I don't know what's going to happen.
It's gonna be crazy.
It's gonna be wild. I'm telling you right now, and I'm gonna end this show off like this. The NFL needs Kansas City to beat San Francisco.
Yeah.
Not because of Taylor Swift. We ain't talking about that part. But what it will do is, do you know what the headlines will be if San Francisco pulls the upset and Mr. Irrelevant wins the Super Bowl MVP? That's going to destroy the quarterback narrative for the NFL. So they can, but so if you see some stuff, you heard it first. I'm just
right here. Right here. No, I thought you were just going to end it right there. That would have been perfect.
Hey, man, we about to end it right there, man. So, hey, like you said, man, y'all make sure y'all go ahead and follow him. Locked On Washington, man. Like you said, hey, man, we definitely appreciate you coming in.
Absolutely.
Oh, truly, my pleasure. This has been a blast. If you guys ever need me again, please feel free to give me a call.
Trust me. We got everybody on speed dial right now, man. We gonna definitely have you coming back, man. I think
that's what I like to hear.
Hey, everybody that's on there, everybody that said in the chat, man, everybody put some fire in the chat for your boy Roman, man. He came in and had some fun with us. Put some fire in the chat for him. This is how we usually
just put Justin Field. Just put a J in the F because that's what y'all love him because of that, right?
That's Orada. That's him. That's just him. That man still mad at me yesterday because I guess because I don't acknowledge him. I don't acknowledge Justin Fields as like Roman Reigns. So so that's where he has a problem with me at, which I don't care because it's funny. All right, man, we got some chat. So, hey, man, until next time, people, man.
That's been awesome.
Hey, man, so you're definitely gonna be a guest with us again, man. We're gonna definitely let you know, man.
Can't wait.
All right, man. So until next time, y'all, we're here to play.
Oh no,
we here to stay.
Oh yeah, dig it.
You ain't gotta go home.
But you got to get the hell out of here. Oh yeah.
We out. They mad. They mad. I ain't preaching. I don't have a Bible with Justin Fields' pitch on it, man. I'm like, what, man? Ain't this something?
I'm glad.